You probably have this turned off. Where is the?
We'll take you inside St. Peter's facility tonight. Also breaking news of the arrest coming in the massive fire in the Northeast, causing.
Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Thursday, April 24th, 2025 meeting of the Culver Town Council. I'd like to remind everyone that this meeting is being recorded and your participation is your consent to be recorded and rebroadcast on the town's YouTube channel. Also, if you have any kind of electronic device, put it on either airplane mode or turn it off, it would be greatly appreciated. Roll call, please.
William Clevenger.
Present.
Justin Croy.
Present.
Jenny Monroe. Here. Damon Mears absent. Sally Ricciardi. Here.
Will you all please join me for the pledge? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the April 10th, 2000 regular meeting, the minutes for the meeting. Everyone had a chance on the count. Any additions or corrections? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Mr. Ricciardi moves to approve the minutes. Second.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Croy. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Karen, I'll abstain since I was absent from the meeting.
Okay, Ms. Monroe is abstaining because she was absent. Next on the agenda is a public concern utility ordinance violation or appeals. Anyone in the room for any of the appeal or violation or anything? Is there anyone online? Okay, we're going to move on now to a public hearing. And I'd like to open the public hearing at 6:37. This notice was given of the public hearing will be conducted by the Culver Town Council. April 2000 by the Culver Town Council for 2025 P001. Culver Plan Commission certified proposal to amend the Culver zoning ordinance regarding solar energy systems and energy storage systems. This hearing will take place at 6:30 p.m. on Thursday, April 24th at Culver Town Hall, 2000 East Washington. Written objections to the proposal filed with the clerk at or before the meeting will be heard. And the hearing may continue from time to time as found necessary.
Motion to open the public hearing.
I'll second.
Motion to open the public hearing, and as I say, 6:38, seconded by Mr. Ricciardi. Anyone make a comment for the public hearing? Mr. Mason.
Could someone give me a thumbnail sketch of what the changes are or what the ordinance is about?
I don't believe there were any changes.
Perhaps what happened during the last meeting was there was a concern or a consideration to take a pause, do a careful reading once again to make sure the wording was correct. What was asked to be considered or at least reviewed was the section on the large scale solar ordinance and the proximity to town. We also noted that everything other than the micro and the roof mounted will be a special use that has to go in front of the BZA. That was it.
Thank you.
But nothing changed.
Well, those things were added or changed or whatever. I just didn't know what you were doing.
No, they were reviewed. Nothing was changed.
Yeah, just review.
Just to be clear, nothing was changed from the proposal to the town council.
Got it.
Otherwise, we would have to send it back.
Understand.
Any other comments in the public hearing? Anyone on the line? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
It's been moved by Ms. Monroe,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Ricciardi. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Next is old business in consideration of 2025 P001 by the Culver Town Council. Culver Plan Commission certified proposal to amend the Culver zoning ordinance regarding solar energy systems and energy storage systems.
So Bill, I had a quick question. I'm comfortable with the ordinance for the June deadline that we have. But there were a few things I've marked up that could potentially be considered by the plan commission or would be plan commission or BZA in the case, plan commission,
Would
correct?
be planned.
Yeah, none of which are like huge red flags for me. I brought a few of them to Steve's attention last month when I saw the early draft of this. So my question is, if we go ahead and move to pass this now, the plan commission could still consider changes at a later date if we wanted to amend the ordinance. Would that be correct?
Well, I think they would have to, then propose those amendments to you. I mean, or the way to do it now would be to, adopt it with your recommended proposed changes. It would then go back to them. They would have to have a meeting, adopt your changes, and then it would be adopted.
Okay. Okay. That would seem simple enough to me. And my changes are relatively minor. Like I noted where it refers to, the building under authority B, the Culver Building Commissioner is vested with the authority to review, approve, and disapprove applications.
Where are you at now?
It's under B for authority. And it basically gives the building commissioner authority to review and approve or disapprove the applications for these. My only concern there was, could it be that person and or someone else? Because we've had periods of time where we're without a building commissioner, sometimes for several months. So maybe it would be and or the town manager or and or the chair of the building commission or.
Would that be a default
Or
position to
plan
BZA for recommendation? If there is no building commissioner, would it pass directly to the BZA for consideration?
I look at BZA as just appealing.
I wouldn't think the BZA. I think it's
Okay.
either I think the suggestion that either be the president of the plan commission
Mhm, that's what. I'm
in lieu of the building commissioner.
But if you didn't have one, wouldn't you appoint a temporary, and that would be that same verbiage, or?
I don't know. I just know we've had lots of periods of time
I
without
agree, I just,
that building commissioner. And he's usually acting under the plan commission or the BZA or town council or like all of the above. And it would make sense to me to be the chair of the plan commission.
So what is your language going to say? If the building commissioner is unavailable or the building
Yeah.
commissioner is not currently, there's no building commissioner currently in office, then.
Yeah, it would default to the plan commission chair or president of the plan commission, I guess.
I think you're gonna have to be specific about where you send back to the plan commission.
Yeah.
Indeed, so you want time to write up exactly what you want to suggest back to them?
I don't necessarily need the time. I guess we could even just put it as a note for consideration. You know, like if we motion to approve it with these quote considerations, and then they could put the verbiage in if they agree to it and came back with a recommendation later.
Okay.
Would that work?
Yes, that would work.
The only other I had, look. Oh, there's something about mounting on the height of a building, structure, highest point, which I agreed with, that it shouldn't interfere with current zoning. Is it possible that some of these systems though, and Kevin, this, you might have, as a committee member, or Sally, can these be mounted on the side of a building at times? Like, is that even possible?
No, well, it is, yes, it is. It's not practical.
Not typical,
It's
right?
not typical, and the way that's, I think, guided some of the language there.
Okay, and then that I wouldn't have an issue with doing any language there. The only other language I was looking at, I talked to Steve about it, is the larger ones can be on like 10-acre parcels or what's considered the large category. Do we need any language that says you can't? So what if a person had 100 acres and then subdivided it in 10-acre plots? They could conceivably do 10 of these in a row, right? Do we need language that,
Setback.
yeah, do we need language that would say they can't do that? I don't know. That's just something for consideration for the plan. And if they had a recommendation on that, to come back with an amendment.
But with some, and I apologize, I don't want to turn it into a dialogue, but I think that guy, special use clause.
Mhm.
And so that would have to go in.
It'd have to go
It
before
would have to go
BZA.
to BZA, and that would certainly factor into consideration. So
Yeah.
it may be,
That satisfies me.
okay.
Then I would just say the one clause for building commissioner would be the only one I would. And I think you're right, the special, if it had to go through BZA, they would be able to stop it if they wanted to.
Your only changes under B, authority, you want to add some language about president of the plan commission stepping in with the authority of the building commissioner. If the building commissioner is not currently, if there is no building commissioner in office.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all my notes, sorry. I wasn't at your last meeting, otherwise I would have done it. But I know how important it is to meet the June deadline as well, so. That's all the suggestions I had.
If we were, Kevin, if we were to entertain a conditional approval, that's my motion here, and it goes back to the plan, would it have to come back to the town council at that point?
No, the statute's very detailed on this. I believe you can make recommendations back to the plan commission. They can adopt those changes, and then at that point it's adopted. If they don't accept those changes, then it would come back to you. So I'll double check that after this meeting, let you know, but I don't think it has to come back to you for another adoption. You can adopt it with the change. If you want to adopt any change, you got to vote on that too. Thank you.
Just for clarification, that special permit is granted to the building commissioner or the BZA? Or the ground,
President, which part?
just in general, in the ordinance, in order, special use, yes. In order to get your solar energy system, that authority falls to the building commissioner or to the BZA or to the plan commission.
I don't know, Kevin.
So if a special use comes in, it will have to go through the BCA. They have to approve the special use. So what will happen is that they'll come before the building commissioner. The building commissioner will write the case. The case will appear before the BZA as a special use. It's very similar to what happened with the executive storage units on South Main and West Shore. And so that special use will have to go through a hearing and be approved. And
So
that's
at
the
least
process.
guarantees there's a public hearing.
That's exactly right.
So everything is by special use.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, so every single system, except for is micro.
Micro is not,
Micro.
and roof mounting, if I'm correct, Kevin, in memory, that those are, but up to their size.
Yeah, it was based on the size.
Yes.
And I hadn't thought about that special use covers a lot of the things I marked up would come up in that situation.
That's
Jenny, with that special use covering those things, do you still want to add those notes?
I just the building commissioner one, because that gives authority for him to issue permits and such, or, approve these. And that's usually the person also leading them into a technical review committee, which that's outlined in here as well. And I just know we've been in situations where we don't have one and it's hard to find someone right away. So if Steve ever left, we'd be in a pickle. I just want to make sure we're covering that scenario.
a good thought.
And usually your plan commission chairperson is also sitting on the BZA. There's one planning commission person that sits on BZA. And a lot of times you have planning commission at the TRC meeting as well. So you kind of cover your bases that way too.
So I'll move that, we have to have a movement to adopt the notes, correct? As we're saying, so I'll move to adopt the notes.
Mr. Croy moves to adopt the notes,
I'll obviously second that.
and Mr. Monroe seconds. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
I would just say you would just need a motion to adopt it with, and send it back to the, plan commission with those notes.
I'll make the motion to approve 2025-P001 with the notes included.
Second that.
Mr. Monroe moves to include the notes of 2025 P001, seconded by Mr. Croy. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. So this goes back to the plan commission now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was this new ordinance passed now for?
Not technically, it got to go back to the plan commission so they can consider suggestions Jenny made that were approved by this board. Which is one simple change to the authority. And so long as the plan commission adopts that, then it'll be adopted.
Okay, will that be adopted before the moratorium expires?
I don't know when your next meeting is.
Yeah.
It will be, Chester, it will be.
When's the moratorium?
Jim. We've got time. So in the May meeting this month, we'll make sure it happens. Thank you.
Any more discussion as far as the 2025 P001? We have a motion to close the public.
Yeah, we closed.
Yeah, we're
Mr.
good.
Sardi moves to close the public hearing.
We already
did.
Oh, we already
We're
did.
good.
Okay. All right. Now we have a couple of proclamations under new business. First of all, bear with me, Arbor Day proclamation. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas the holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of the precious topsoil by wind and water, lower our heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, and produce oxygen, provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us proper wood for homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of the business area, beautify our community. Whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual reward. Now therefore, I, William Clevenger, President of the Council of the Town of Culver, Indiana, do hereby proclaim Friday, April 25th as Arbor Day in the town of Culver, and we urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and support its efforts and to protect our trees, woodlands. Furthermore, I urge all citizens to plant and care for trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generation. Dated 24th day of April 2025. Next, very special proclamation. This is a proclamation honoring Ed Pinder. Whereas Ed Pinder, along with his wife Laura, had lived in Culver for over 60 years. And whereas Mr. Pinder served on the town council from 1970 to 1975, and again from 2004 to 2015. And whereas Mr. Pinder also served on Culver Second Century Committee and the Culver Redevelopment Commission. Whereas Mr. Pinder was a longtime instructor of mathematics, beginning in Kiwanis, followed by Culver Military Academy and the Culver Community Schools. And whereas Mr. and Mrs. Pinder were owners of Pinder's Restaurant, a beloved restaurant fixture for almost 30 years. Whereas Mr. and Mrs. Pinder served the community through their involvement in the Lions Club, Wesley United Methodist Thrift Shop, Wesley United Methodist Church, Emmanuel Lutheran Church, and Hartfeld Church. And whereas the town of Culver owes Mr. Pinder a debt of gratitude for his service and efforts to make Culver a better place to live. And whereas Mr. Pinder passed on the 11th of April, 2025, leaving behind an established legacy of family, public service, community involvement, education, and all-around great guy. Now therefore, I, William Clevenger, Town Council President of the Town of Culver, State of Indiana, do hereby direct the flag lowering to half-staff from April 25th through Tuesday, April 29th, and urge the citizens of the community to remember and honor his efforts to make the town of Culver a better place. Witness my hand and seal of the town of Culver this 24th day of April, 2025. Laura? Someone want to come forward? Okay, you're down, Laura.
What?
Next on the agenda is tax abatements for Sand Hill Farm and the Paddocks. That's fine.
Yes, we're difficult to follow that, but we have two tax abatements for your review and determination whether or not the property owner is in substantial compliance. One is for Culver Sand Hill Farm LLC, and the other is for the Paddocks. I did email you out the forms that were submitted by Mr. Berger a couple weeks ago for your review, and hopefully if you had questions, you got those cleared up. And so I would just ask for a motion to either state that agree that the property is in substantial completion, or that it's not, or you have another opinion.
We see the movement to adopt that.
The motion that you determined that the property owner is in substantial completion for both the Sand Hill Farm and the Paddocks.
Make a motion that the Sand Hill Farms and Paddocks are in substantial compliance.
And actually, may I add and approve of the, and direct the council president to sign the as such.
Council President, so
I'll second that.
Mr. Target moves to find that the Paddocks, Sand Hill Farms are in compliance and authorize town council president to sign. Seconded by Mr. Croy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Next. Police chief appointment.
How much is the abatement? How long is it for?
It was for 10 years.
10 years.
How much each year?
I would have to go look into that.
Yeah.
It's not on the top of my head.
Just curious.
Yeah, we're good. We can move on.
It's out there. Is that hard?
It just murmurs out in the crowd, that's all.
Mr. Cadbecker has accepted the position of Chief of the Culver Police Department, pending upon the retirement of the existing chief, Mr. Wayne Bean. I have a motion to accept the appointment for Mr. Becker.
Motion to approve.
Moved by Ms. Monroe, second by Mr. Chardy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those same sign.
Mr. President, if I may, I would just like to thank the council for your support and allowing me this opportunity to serve in this position. It's been 27 years I've been with the department. We've been very fortunate, you as a council, us as a department, to not have to go through these appointments all the time. Wayne's been here for 25 years. I don't know if I could make it another 25 years, but I truly look forward to working with the council and future councils in the new position, and thank you for all the support for me and the department. Thank you.
Thank you, Chad.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
President, if I may.
Yes.
Yeah, I also want to thank Wayne. He's acted very responsibly and has guided and made to ensure that there's a smooth transition by placing his successor in place. Also want to remind that Wayne is still here, still police chief until he decides. And this motion really shows his care and responsibility for the department, wanting to make sure that when he does retire, it's a smooth day. The next day he takes over. And I want to thank you.
Council made a good choice. This. We're together a long time. It would be hard to leave. Don't stay another year.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Good working with you. Dad will have me. Stick around part-time July. All week, every week.
Just weekends.
Holidays.
He'll do a good job.
Thank you. Thank
Stick
you.
around and don't Kevin's.
All right, moving on. Board and commission reports, the technical review plan commission.
I was shared with the building commissioner's report filed with me 2 days ago. March 2025, building permits applied for were 11 in February. The total fees collected for building permits, fence and roof permits, and BCA and plan commission applications. Culver received $24.96 for the month of March. Zoning ordinance update, there's certified proposal to amend the Culver zoning ordinance regarding solar energy systems and energy storage systems from the Plan Commission was approved to favorably recommend to town council. This was obviously on the table tonight. The building commissioner will be looking at zoning ordinance updates and working with the town attorney moving forward. Unsafe structures, nothing to report for March. TRC did not meet, nothing to report. Plan Commission, the March Plan Commission meeting had a public hearing and vote on solar and energy storage proposal ordinance. This is favorably, obviously recommended to town council. Again, the town attorney will have the update on the legal case pending with the Plan Commission. BZA, the BZA heard 3 cases in March. 2 requests were withdrawn and 1 case was approved. Gratefully, Steve Gorski, Culver Building Commissioner. That's it, Mr. President.
And think when the Board of Zoning Appeals
Ed covered in that one.
covered in that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Redevelopment Commission.
Good evening, Marty Osterman, representing the Redevelopment Commission. The annual TIP report was filed on April 15th. I understand there's a requirement to
review that report with the town council. So with your permission, I'd like to walk through that report. I understand it was included in the documents for the meeting. I'll keep my back to the wall if that's okay with you. While I go through it, that way everyone can hear me back here. Page 1 presents the personnel. This is as of year end 2024. And at year end, the identical membership to the current Redevelopment Commission: Marty Osterbond, Sally Brichardi, Jenny Monroe, Sarah Jones, and Jerry Seiler. Jerry Seiler joined the Redevelopment Commission in that would be September of 2024 upon the retirement of Erica James, who moved out of the district and had to retire from the commission. On page 2 of the report, there's only 3 pages, by the way. I'm going to walk you through the finances. First, the capital fund we maintain for each of the 2 TIF districts. When you combine, you look in the revenue column, we had approximately $758,000 in TIF property tax revenues come to the Redevelopment Commission in 2024. We spent only $199,000 last year. And the reason behind that is because we needed it to be a down year for expenditures. Previous years included significant investments in fiber, stellar projects and the like, and the balances were getting a little low. So the commission decided it was a good year to invest in planning for the future, and that's exactly what we did. And we talk a little bit about that if you like. So our year-end balances at the end of 2024, including the revenues minus the expenditures, and the beginning balance is just north of $900,000, $934,000. We have a debt reserve on top of that of almost $100,000, and that debt reserve is likely to be released in 2025. I'll talk just briefly about that in a little bit. We have $18,000 in the general account. You can think of that as more of the, petty cash account for us, I guess, for lack of a better characterization. The stormwater bonds, principal and interest, that's tip 1 idea. We made a payment last year of $155,000, $155,943. I'd just like to note that was the second to last payment for that bond, and that was in 2024, meaning the last payment this year. The next category is the tip 2 bond. Again, principal and interest, that had a payment last year of $46,012. And that was actually the last payment for that bond stream. So I'm going to stop there and ask the next section here deals all with the dunes. And before we talk about the dunes, which is a little complicated, I think I should stop and ask, are there any questions with regard to the finances excluding the dunes for 2024?
Marty, I don't have any questions now, but will you come see me and explain a couple of things to me after the meeting?
I'd be happy to, yes, thank you. Thank you. Okay, well then let's go to the dunes. You'll see there's 6 categories there, 6 funds, if you will. And these are various accounts relating to the dunes. I'll start at the top, the Ready Grant account. You'll recall the Ready Grant was $1,003,000. By year end 2024, we drew $355,000 out of that account, meaning the Ready Grant administrator proved up that amount of expenses. So that current balances of year end, I should say, $944,000. There's a reimbursement fund, which is kind of a way station for the money being paid out of Ready. So you can see that pretty much zeroes out, $250,000. The bond fund is de minimis. The construction account is really everything related to the dunes that we spend money on, except for the Ready Grant money. So of all the work that's being done out there that we're supporting with the bonds that were issued, the revenue bonds that were issued, that would be in that account. And you can see there were $881,000 of money spent. That is
the net expenditures after income credits include things like capitalized interest, because there's no property tax revenue coming in from their project yet. So that would be about $376,000 in capitalized interest. The professional fees and services to get the bonds issued were about $250,000. And the construction costs that were incurred and proved up and paid before year end that were not associated with the ready portion of that project were about $254,000. That's how you get to that 881 figure. The expenses in the capitalized interest below that, those are sub funds of that construction account. So I consider those covered at this point. Any questions on the dues? All right. So then the next page 3, now you've got the detail, and I won't make this too painful, but I think it's good to illustrate the variety of expenses that are supported by the CRC. So we've got the first the Lake Max Trail Phase 3, that's engineering expense to the Troyer Group. We paid for the easement on the south end of the Dunes property, the Howard property easement. You've got $2,900 for Baker Tilly, and then a little further down, you see $3,500 for Barnes and Thornburg. That's advisory work to the Redevelopment Commission with respect to the maintenance of the TIFs, reporting relative to that and any changes that we made to the TIFs in 2024 covered by those expenses. We support Christmas decorations at $6,200. That $30,000 annual commitment for water that we give to the town, that commitment runs through 2035. $52,000 and change to the visitor center. That's for general and event promotion to attract people to the town and support our businesses in the town. We spent $64,000 on facade grants. Papa's received one, the Culver Cottage received one, the subway on Main Street that was built or opened in 2024 received one as well. And then that stormwater bond payment of $155,000. Those are the expenses that went against the first TIF district. Second TIF district only had 3. Again, Troyer expense, that's for the trail out there on Cass and Slate. There were $32,000 as part of a multi-year stellar agreement for the West Jefferson Trail. And then we had our final bond payment that I covered before, $46,000 for that bond, the TIF 2 bond. So any questions on that before I go back to the next section or go forward to the next section, I should say. And these are all those expenses now delineated for the dunes. The first 4, if you combine those up, that's your $250,000 in professional fees. The $250,000 for Culver equities is the 2 reimbursements that actually processed in 2024 for ready. Then construction management design, that's $254,000. That's the construction work that was done out at the dunes before year end that was not related or not part of the ready portion of the project. And then the $104,243 is for construction work under the ready project, but did not get reimbursed through ready because it came right at the end of December and it was processed in 2025. The transfers is just inter-account activity. It's not indicative of much other than the amount of work that Karen has to do, tracking money as it goes back and forth between accounts. I want to make a point because I've talked about bonds in TIF 1 and TIF 2, and I talked about bonds with the dunes. And there's an important distinction because we talked about paying off the bonds in TIF 1 and TIF 2 because the CRC had the obligation to pay those bonds. These bonds I'm talking about under the Dunes project have no recourse to the CRC or to the town of Culver, but are supported 100% by the property tax revenues to be generated by the Dunes project. And it's an important distinction that I want to make sure everyone understands. Okay, and then we have final section here is the assessed values for the various TIF districts.
And you can see some nice incremental assessed value increases since those properties were added to the TIFs. Tip one's assessed value base was 10 million, current 50, so we've got 41 million of increased value that provides tax revenue to the CRC. Tip two, the base AV assessed value was only 300,000. It's now valued at 4.2 million, so it's another 4 million of assessed value, generating tax revenue to CRC. The other four were added in 2024. That's the subway, the North Storage, which is out there by the Paddocks, and then the two Dunes TIFs. One's the residential, one's the storage. So I'll summarize quickly and say CRC has about 700,000 in annual revenue, about $1 million balance at year end in its accounts. And as of February, we made the last payment on that tip one bond. And so as of February of this year, we're now debt free. We're working to identify measured appropriate investments consistent with that outlined in the comprehensive plan to help improve the economic activity in the TIP districts and throughout the town. That's my report.
Thank you very much. Councilman, questions? Tree Commission. Anyone here on behalf of the Tree Commission?
One order of business, Mr. President, that was asked for me from the Tree Commission, and that was the amendment to the ordinance. 2025, this would be ordinance 2025-004, an ordinance that amends 2005-006 of establishing and creating a tree commission within the jurisdiction of Culver. There were two simple changes that were made to the original document for your consideration. First pertains to membership within section 1 of the ordinance. The addition reads, all tree commission members shall be either residents or business owners within the town limits and have an interest in trees or arborist programs. The addition to the language would include business owners, and this was requested by the Tree Commission during their last meeting. The second point of amendment would occur within section 3 of this document, and this pertains to the removal of trees, stumps, and shrubs. Since the transition has been made in terms of the budget to the street department, the wording is now reading, the Tree Commission will also act in conjunction with the Culver Street Department for the removal and disposition of trees, shrubs, and stumps within the Culver corporate limits. Those are the simple two changes that were requested by the Tree Commission. I put it in front of the council for consideration tonight.
I have no issue with either change. I think that's reasonable. We have a hard time backfilling tree commission member positions, but it's been huge benefit to our town to have a tree commission focused on it. It's made us tree city Culver and clearly beautified our town in a number of ways. So if those changes would help, are you good with I figured you would be. I have no issue with those.
I don't have any issue as well.
Do we need to advertise these changes? Or can we just,
I defer to
Approve
legal
that?
counsel on that one.
Typically only if you're going to, if there's money involved and kind of fine or anything. So these are just changes that, they would not be advertised. They could just be adopted by the board.
okay, then I would motion to approve of those changes.
Monroe moves through the changes to the Tree Commission.
Real quick, I do have one thing. I'm sorry, Jenny.
Sure.
Sorry,
Oh,
Bill.
it's okay.
And this is probably maybe thinking a little bit too much into it, but what are we classifying as a business owner?
Oh, like, is it a brick and mortar?
Like, are we are we brick and mortar, or if a guy is passing through with his, trunk full of junk, are we allowing him to be a business owner in the town of Culver, or what are we classifying as a business
I
owner?
think if it was an owner that they would have to have.
They're defined in the statute, in the ordinance already.
The way the ordinance reads is business owners within the town Culver.
Yeah.
Within the town limits of Culver.
But the the actual definition of a business owner isn't really in there. So,
It is not.
I would say that they could amend that to, I think I know what you're getting at too, because it's also hard to find remote workers. Yeah, is this a person sitting in Alaska who has done business in Culver or whatever? Because we do have a lot of remote workers.
Listening to that suggestion, would the amendment be residents or property owners?
Yeah, I like that.
Very good.
Because then they have to own the business or property. It's gotta be,
But doesn't that limit, wouldn't that then be the same thing? Because there are, those property owners would already be eligible to be on the tree commission?
I don't think they are eligible right now, right? Because a
They are-
business owner
They are not.
could be living in Plymouth, but they own a business here. But they do own the business or the property for that business.
The current ordinance just simply says residents.
Yeah, so like Lucretia would be a good example. They live out of town, but they do own a business here. So if we could add that, or if I can amend my motion to approve with the amended language.
Very good.
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Croy. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign.
Thank you, Mr. Burke, for the suggestion. I'll make sure to note it and make the changes. Thank you.
Town manager report with you, Mr. Dante.
One of the questions I have, and maybe we can defer to Kevin on this one, is does this need to be passed by 3 or is it a straight up and down? Since it's an ordinance in itself, would it require 3 readings?
No. You're amending the ordinance. You can,
Very good.
you don't need to have 3 readings.
Thank you, sir. Just appreciate it. Just had that question, making sure. Thank you. Town manager report.
Yes, sir.
To me, sir. Well, out the nose here. Been a busy night. First and foremost, I have approvals to put in front of the council. Bob is here to assist. We're teaming this. We have been presented by Core and Maine with a quote for 400,020, 731.55. This quote is for the meter replacement project that is covered within the funds of the GEO bond. We've discussed these water meters. I'm asking first that the council consider this to be his first special purchase, a single bidder, not needing to go out for a request or a bid, simply because this is the one single provider of the type of meter that we need in the state of Indiana. I also sent a letter to you confirming that. So Core Maine is the only provider of the meter. We have confirmed that those meters are, the brand of meters is essential. Bob can speak more if you have questions, but that meter is being used because that's the current system that we have, the most compatible, and the cost is prohibitive to do a whole switch out. It's unnecessary. And so that's why we're seeking this specific brand of meter.
Plus, we wanted to replace all the readers on the outside.
Exactly.
It'll save us 900. That line item is $168 a piece.
There you go.
By not converting to a different.
I know we figured this into the GEO bond. I remember that. Is this about in line with what we budgeted into that or figured into the bond amount?
It was.
Sounded like it was, because I feel like it was 400 somewhere around there. In that case, I'll make a motion to approve the purchase.
Ms. Monroe moves to approve the purchase of the water meters.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Chardy. All those in favor signify by saying aye. The same sign.
Thank you, sir. Second order of business is a quote from Art Bachman Concrete. Currently at Peru Court and South Plymouth on the entry, we're getting a lot of wear, especially on the south side of that road.
South side, yes.
Yeah.
South side is really getting.
Wore down from traffic. What's happening is a lot. I think probably more than anything, the garbage trucks are making that rounded corner. We're looking to improve not only by pouring concrete and making a wing there, but also improving the sidewalks and making them ADA compliant on that end. The bid includes Peru Court entry in South Plymouth, 18-foot curb, Peru Court entry, 21x6 and 15-foot. It's cement basically. It includes tear out and also with the sidewalk tear out and replace. The bid total is $8,561. that we have the funds for, cleared with Karen, and I'm asking for approval for that tonight.
Motion to approve the Rocky Hoffman agreement. Quote.
Mr. Monroe moves to approve Rocky Bottom.
Contest of the term.
It is.
Yes.
I finally got it after 18 years. Huh?
I'll second, Bill.
Second by Mr. Croy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank
And as a point of clarity, Karen pointed out that this money is in the sidewalk fund, so it is available and we have it allocated. It's Bob night tonight. Blue River Technologies, kids, it's that time again. We need those waste bags. We got the 20 by 30 yard geotextile container bags, 55 gallon drum, polymer drum at that. We have a bid at, our quote, $9,070, and it is necessary. So
That's amazing. They have not changed their price since my first
Not
year.
really, no. I
Motion
think
to
polymer
approve.
creeped up a little bit.
yeah, when you think geotextile bags, think Blue River. There you go. I'm asking for approval of $9,070 tonight.
Motion to approve.
Mr. Monroe moves to approve purchase of the bags for $9,070.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Ferry. All those,
That's a necessity.
yeah. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 The only way we can get rid of it.
If you gotta buy it.
Let's move on to special permits tonight. We have two in front of me. We have an April 26, 8 to 12 a.m. fundraiser. Number of people anticipated 12. 3 intersections listed below. Dan Schaller is our Knights of Columbus and St. Mary's is our contact person. It's the Candy Drive donation collection. There's no parking, no alcohol. Looks like some vests and traffic cones. Received all the signatures necessary. Also, St. Mary's has submitted their certificate of liability insurance with it. Something that Julie and Karen and I are trying to make sure that we're getting on record with special permits these days. So ask for approval.
So moved.
Been moved by Mr. Monroe to approve the Knights of Columbus, second by Mr. Ferry. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Good time to be a Catholic this time of year, apparently. May 4th, 2025, Marian procession, 100 people, St. Mary of the Lake. Father Stephen is going to be our contact person, also along with Amy Dittmeyer. Walking procession in the street while praying. Route will be out of the church, right on College, right on Academy, right on Lakeview, and right back to where they started at St. Mary Church. Police escort in front of the procession. There will not be needing cleanup. Have cleared with it, and our police chief has signed off on it since that's the one person that is committed to this, and I ask for approval.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Mr. Ferry moves to approve the motion.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Croy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, few updates and we'll get off the stage. Here update, I've been in touch with the Valacote brothers often. They've been working throughout the week. Today they completed the stringers on B. They will have the decking down on B. They're hitting the H-frames, leveling and stringers during the weekend. They are on track to make the 5/4 deadline for installation, probably a few days early. They're pushing. One of the issues that they've not confronted, but today they shared with me, some of the H bars that go out on the final end of the A pier that attaches to the fishing pier, they want to ensure they have the right depth. As they've had to organize this as they go, they are learning exactly what's left. And they wanted to share with me that they think they have the H bars, but they wanted just to make sure in the spirit of communication. They're going to confirm with me Sunday. If need be, we can run it. That would be the only parts that we would need to purchase, maybe a few things. Not an issue, I'm told, and we should be able to have those by next week and shouldn't delay the project any. We will begin inspection on May 4th. I think we should be in play by May 10th deadline for our leasees. Everything looks smooth, and if not, I'll make sure to send communication to the council.
There's random parts up at the water tower.
There are, and that's something that we will discuss, and I would, there are. And there are some things, they're not sure yet. They just wanted to share that they haven't confirmed the depth of the sockets on that end A. And they wanted just to give you a heads up so it's not a surprise. And I'm confident we'll be fine. The Dennis Quaid viewpoint will be in town. We've confirmed Sunday, May 4th. They're going to be starting with the interviews at the Beach Lodge from 8 to 11:30. They'll hit town about 11:30 to about 5 o'clock to hit some footage. Susie's been uptown doing her job, getting everybody to spruce up the place a little bit. She's with the emails a lot. That's good. We're really excited. They're excited to be here. I've sent and shared the script. It's concise, but it really gives us an opportunity as interviewers and speakers to expand on it. It's going to be, I think it's a valuable endeavor. Cleanup projects. I discussed with Molly Johnson from Republic Waste. You may have noticed a lot of plastic coming out of the winter, especially along the south side of Highway 17 heading out of town. I'm trying to organize with the sports teams of football and volleyball, specifically soccer over at the school. I'd love to have some help there, Mr. Croy, and get some kids together. Republic has said they would donate the waste containers as well as maybe some pizza. Because nothing says volunteerism like pizza. And get a project going here in the next month and get some kids out there and start picking up town a little bit. And I think it would be a nice endeavor for our youth. Garage sale next weekend, right? This weekend? There we go. I just wanted somebody, I'm looking out in the audience. Garage sale this weekend, it's Parents Weekend. Information on the map of the town website by clicking Town Garage Sale under notices. We also distributed maps at the Monterey Bank, gas stations in town, and also put one up at Park and Shop. Make sure. I even drive through the street tomorrow crying it out. Dunes update. If you haven't noticed on realtor.com, you get bored, go on there. The first two listings are there. They're both listing about 1,500 to 1,800 square foot homes. Price point right now is $450,000 and $485,000. If you take a look at realtor.com, that's pretty comparable for new construction in terms of price per square footage. I had a conversation with Collins today, as well as the person that's in charge of building them. I'm being told that these are show homes that got a bit more stone around the base. They're going to be, he characterized them as high mid-level homes for that build. There are going to be some that are going to be more expensive. He assures me there's going to be some single family homes that are going to be below that price point, probably hard to guess market value, but they're telling me high 3s, 400s right in there, which is highly competitive for the town of Culver. We are moving in. I also had a discussion. We are finishing the ready portion of the infrastructure. It should be done here in probably, they tell me, by June, and that's going to be on time. And that was good to hear. A little bit, they've asked for the extension, so it's a little bit longer, but they're going to be ahead of their extension. So we'll be finishing up the ready and being able to kind of put that to bed a little bit. It's a very exciting project, and if you haven't been by there, it's interesting to see how they're taking shape. The apartments are coming online, and the senior residents, I had the chance to walk through them, the assisted senior residents, and it's really interesting to see the build. They're spacious. Not doing an endorsement or anything, but there's a different, they were going to be characterized as all the same thing. And I'm starting to find out is, yeah, they changed the colors, but the design on the inside, they're going to have probably about 6 or 7 base types that they stagger throughout the development, but there is variation there. And I think that says something at that price point. I appreciated it. Wife says I'm not moving though, so we're set. Anyway.
You're not old enough.
I tried, Russ. I'm trying to age as fast as I can. That's it for the town manager report. Oh, Marty, sorry.
I would just add to that report, since you brought it up. That,
yes,
at the CRC meeting last week, Burke Richardson presented a status on the dunes. So I would point you towards the YouTube channel. And at the tail end of last week's CRC meeting, you can get a nice update on the dunes from their perspective.
Thank you for the reminder, Martin. Appreciate it.
So we don't have to watch the whole thing. You can sit right there.
Ms. Heim, your report.
I have 2 claims over $2,500 for your approval. The first one is just PwC Marine Incorporated for $16,361.13. That is actually for the courtesy pier and the installation. Those monies were donated by a private individual, went into the Park Non-Reverting Gift Fund and is going out of the same. The second one is Wyland, Humphrey, Clevenger, and Cerisi for $3,908.88. And those are attorney fees and the solar ordinance work that were completed before we switched.
Motion to approve the claims.
Motion to approve claim total $2,500 by Ms. Monroe.
Second.
Second by Mr. Croy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those same sign.
Right, the second thing I have is, speaking of the dunes, is an invoice from Culver Equities for reimbursement from the construction reimbursement fund. And that is for $187,000. And this is for work they've already done, and it's all.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve the invoice for the dunes, $187,000. Second.
Will second.
Second by Mr. Sardi. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those same sign.
I just want to remind you that we scheduled a work session to discuss the water and sewer rates. And that is 5:15 p.m. on Thursday, May 8th. So it's before the next meeting. I've been in communication with Jeff Rao. He and his assistant have provided them updated numbers. And so they are confident they'll get us updated report by then. And just a reminder, I talked to you last meeting about additional appropriations, and we have a public hearing scheduled for that on May 22nd. And I will post the notice out front. Dustin's Place, after the first of the year, you all committed $18,000 and that money coming out of Riverboat. I did put together an agreement to that effect for you all and Dustin's Place to sign. So if, and I did provide a copy of that, had Kevin review it. So if you would approve signing that contract or that agreement, we'll get that all taken care of for them.
I move to agree to that, enter into that agreement.
Roy, Dustin's Place. Second by Ms. Monroe. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those same sign. Thank you.
I just have a couple more things, bear with me. Just wanted to say the TIP management report was submitted April 15th. The coronavirus or the SLFRF report is due on April 30th, and that will get done once I have a few moments to sit and concentrate. Kevin covered garage sales this weekend. The next big event coming up is townwide cleanup, and that will be Monday, May 12th. You have the weekend to set your items out of the curb, and the utility guys will be around to pick those items up if they get there before the people that like to come through town and clean up prior to. It happened to us as well. I don't think there's anything left of it. And that's not
cleanup day, don't you?
right.
No, that's so much different.
Compared to the old days, that's
So
awesome.
much, yeah.
Yep. And so the last thing I have is we received an email from Republic Services. And just to let everybody know, we'll put it out on Town Gallon Lake and on our website. But the recycle drivers are going to start checking the contents of the recycling containers on their routes. And I'm just going to read this email. There have been quite a few issues with residents placing trash, yard waste, et cetera, in recycled containers. And if the drivers see this, their recycled containers will not be serviced. So then it's on you to empty it. Recycled items should be loose in the container, not in plastic bags. And there's also a do not list of recycled items. And I just noticed that there were some printed out there on the front counter. So, and we'll circulate those as well. So if you could just make a mental note to watch what you put in your recycled containers. It's not for anything but recycles. And that's all.
Thank you very much. Mr. Tankersley, your report.
Well, I just started this month and I've been making a point to go to board meetings, went to several, get in touch with those board members, the presidents of those boards. I've had some communication with, went to meet some department heads, met with Wayne and Chad. There's always a lot to do. I mean, you guys are doing well, but there's a lot going on, which is good. And I'm happy to get involved to see what I can do to make things better. We do have some litigation that started the tail end of March that I had to jump into. It's just a petition for judicial review. for a decision made by the Board of Zoning Appeals. My experience with those is they'll take probably a year before we get to a final hearing on that issue. But those are not seeking monetary damages against the town, so there's no chance of any kind of financial exposure to the taxpayers. It's simply a review of that board's decision and whether or not the court would send that back to the board for any reason, or whether the court would accept what the board did. Anything else? Unless somebody has a question.
Thank you. Council issues, Ms. Monroe.
I don't have anything specific other than I think this is a really unusual meeting and honoring Ed. And I'm sorry, I cried. I adored that man. It's so unusual for a business owner to step up and become an elected official in a small, community like this, because it puts you at risk when you upset somebody, you stand to lose business. And Ed had no issue with that whatsoever. Appreciated that. Appreciated some of his funny questions when we interview people, his sense of humor. And Kieran and I would start laughing in the middle of interviews because of it. I missed him being in this room when he retired from being a council member, and will deeply miss seeing him around town. But I love the fact that we have people who volunteer to step into these roles and serve as great servant leaders. I also really appreciate what's happening in our police department, the longevity of our officers, the loyalty, the commitment to this community. It's really special to see you pass this on to Chad, which also made me a wee bit emotional. Not usually like that. I don't know why this 2025, I'm not thriving. I'm crying. But I just wanted to thank you guys, thank the Pinder family for all the sacrifices they made for Ed to step into his role. And I really appreciate that you guys took the time to write a very appropriate proclamation. So whoever was behind all of that, thank you much, Karen. That's all I have.
She's the artist.
Sally?
Well, all I can say is I second everything that Jenny said. Mr. Pinder will be missed. He was a great council member. I loved working with him. And, I loved their restaurant. Sad, but everything comes to an end.
Mr. Corey?
Just want to send my condolences and our sympathy to the Pinder family. I have Ed's great grandson Seamus is in my broadcasting class at the school, and he did a very nice documentary on Pinder's restaurant for his class project. Congrats to Chad. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you for allowing a Culver guy like me to grow up in a community where he always felt safe. I appreciate that. Easter egg hunt. I know that we didn't go over that tonight, but I was at the Easter egg hunt this past Saturday. It went well. I don't know who voted to put boy whistles in
It's gotta be a grandpa.
But
Just for you, buddy.
but we have an ordinance against that. I'd like to see that.
No, me too.
And that's it.
Crystal will be here next meeting. She can answer that.
You want to add sugar-free candy to that?
Yeah.
I guess I have to just say that I agree with everything that Jenny has said, what Sally said, what Justin said, and congratulations, Chad.
Thank you.
And look forward to working with you
Absolutely.
and the next 40 years.
Or break the record.
Yeah.
You can do it.
42 years in one day.
Yeah. Couple more days.
Other than that, I have nothing more, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Rowe to adjourn. Second. Second by Mr. Troy. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned.